It's Totally Ruthless.
And with this victory in the Kentucky Pacing Derby, Totally Ruthless, who left from post position number 8 on the half-mile track at Louisville, turned in the finest performance of his young career and leaped to the head of the 2-year-old Pacing Colt division. With a win tonight, he would lock up his divisional championship.
Turns along the rail. It's Sweet Reflection still showing the lead by 1 length, and on the outside, Concord Quest along the rail. Lee Amherst looking for room. It's Sweet Reflection. Concord Quest along the rail. Lee Amherst under the wire. It'll be a 1-length win for Sweet Reflection.
Camtastic, threefold concussion. Campbell setting with a late rush on the outside, and Camtastic is drawing clear. Concussion at the rail. It's Camtastic in the Breeders' Crown.
Tonight, from Pompano Park on the Florida Gold Coast, dynamic 2-year-old pacers. 1 race for the Colts, 1 for the fillies, with purses exceeding $1.2 million. Breeders' Crown 88 is being brought to you by Castleton Farm, a tradition of excellence. By U.S. Air, serving over 130 cities across the U.S. and Canada. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Last Friday night in the Breeders' Crown right here at Pompano Park, 2-year-old trotters were in action, and we had heavy favorites in both of our races. Not only did Valley Victory and Peace Corps come home smashing winners, they both set world records. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to this jewel of a racetrack in southern Florida. Again, the setting for Breeders' Crown competition. Tonight, the young pacers ready to step onto the track. And again tonight, 2-year-olds. Again tonight, Stan Bergstein, 2 heavy favorites.
And I think we'll see record performances once again, Dave. The filly, Central Park West, faces 2 fillies who have set world records in the last 2 starts, Keystone Wallace and Windy Answer. The Colt favorite, Totally Ruthless, faces Kentucky Spur, who set the track record here last week, so they have tough battles.
What about the human side to the competition tonight?
That's an easy one. The story of that tonight is the story of the Totally Ruthless stable. 2 years ago, a New Jersey horseman named Joe Kloss went to 4 friends, his jeweler, his insurance man, 2 acquaintances, and said, my son-in-law and daughter have a young pacing filly that my son-in-law's father bred. Would you like to buy in? They said, sure. A year later, he went back and he said, filly's doing all right. He has a colt. Would you like to buy in? They said, yes. The filly has now won over $1 million, Sweet Reflection. The colt over $800,000, Totally Ruthless.
And Totally Ruthless is 9-5 tonight.
And their first 2 horses, and only horses.
Stan, what about these races? How will they bear on divisional championships?
I think Central Park West must win tonight in order to win the seasonal championship, the division championship, because LD's Trish, the world champion filly on mile tracks, is a big challenger. I think Totally Ruthless will be the 2-year-old of the year, whether he wins or not.
Right now, let's meet another member of our broadcast team. We'll go to the winner's circle, a trainer in her own right. Here's broadcaster Ellie Sarama.
Thanks, Dave. It's really nice to be back again. Joining me now is a gentleman who needs no introduction to the sport. He has followed in his father's footsteps to greatness, Tommy Haughton. Tommy, you're driving a colt from your stable. How about it? I understand that he's been plagued with health problems throughout the year. Why don't you take us through his career?
The main thing is soundness has been fine until this foot injury lately. But we've had a problem with allergies. Every time we raced him, he was coming up a little short, and they'd scope him, and he always had a lot of irritation in his throat. And because of that, we were going to sell him a week before he went in 152 at Lexington for $80,000.
And now?
Well, they got that all cleared up, and he won 5 straight, and we were offered $500,000 for the horse before the Governor's Cup, and we turned that down.
And I understand that there's a little superstition involved. You haven't cut your hair since?
You're giving away all my secrets now.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Good luck tonight. And now to my colleague, Kenny Rice.
Thanks, Ellie. Last week here at Pompano, we saw two outstanding two-year-old trotters. Tonight, we will have a couple of outstanding two-year-old pacers, and they are both driven by this man. He will drive Central Park West in the filly race, and in the colt race, he will have Totally Ruthless. He is John Campbell. And John, first off, a little bit about Central Park West.
Well, she's been a tremendous filly all year. She had made an untimely break in the eliminations for the Sweetheart, and that's been her only miscue all year.
And then getting ready for the colt race with Totally Ruthless.
Totally Ruthless has just had one bad start as well all year. He didn't race well at Lexington, but other than that, he's just been totally awesome.
Well, now, you are a man who continues to establish your own records, reestablish your records, actually. You are closing in on the $70 million mark, John. You can do that tonight, as well as maybe add from 10 to 12 Breeders' Crown victories in one evening. Do you think about those things?
No, not at all. You just take one race at a time. You don't start thinking about two Breeders' Crowns or money, or if you get thinking ahead of yourself, then it won't happen. You just take it every race as it comes, and you don't get caught up in that money thing.
Well, good luck tonight in both races, John.
Thank you very much, Kenny.
Okay, John Campbell, a man who certainly is the epitome of success in harness racing, tonight trying to add to his records. Dave?
Time for the morning line. Central Park West, driver John Campbell, who you just met, the 6-5 starting favorite. Keystone Wallace at 4.5 with John Copus. Concertina with Harold Kelly. Windy Answer with Ron Waples. Both those two start at 6-1. Dory Lobel, a long shot at 20 with Lloyd Gilmore. Southtown at 4.5 with Michelle Lachance. Another 20-1 shot is Light Beam with Bill Fay. Uptown Swell completes the field. Billy O'Donnell in 15-1. Back with more after these messages. A delightful and breezy evening here at Pompano Park. We're about 5 miles west of the Atlantic Ocean and about 10 miles north of the Fort Lauderdale Airport on a beautiful night for harness racing. Wish you were here in person. And they're just about ready to come out of the paddock for the post parade. The temperature 82 degrees, the wind 10 to 15 miles, and the track is fast for the Breeders' Crown action tonight. Stan, what about two-year-olds in terms of comparing them with older horses holding their form?
I think it's more difficult for them to hold their form, Dave. They're young horses just learning, and like children, they make mistakes. And also like children, they're subject to illnesses and ailments until they build up their immunity.
And here's number 1, Central Park West, coming out of the paddock now.
She's had no trouble holding her form. 14 victories and 17 starts. $312,000. She was a $34,000 yearling. She leads the division.
That's Central Park West being led onto the track, and the driver is John Campbell with over 4,000 races won and more than $63 million in purse money. Makes him the leading money-winning driver in the history of the sport. Number 2 is Keystone Wallace.
You won't have any trouble spotting her. She is a gray and the only gray in the field. Grays are rare in harness racing, and top-notch grays like this one are especially rare. She set the world record for 5/8 mile track fillies, two-year-olds last week here at Pompano.
And the driver is John Copus, the trainer, Roger's brother, and John has been handling the sulky duties more and more in the Copus stable. He's driven the winners of over $6 million in purses. Number 3, Concertina.
This is the leading money winner in the field with $551,000. She won most of it in winning the $863,000 Sweetheart at the Meadowlands in New Jersey earlier in the year.
And Harold Kelly at 53, the senior member in the drivers' ranks tonight. He grew up in the Amish country of Pennsylvania, where he learned the fine points of taking care of horses. And next in line is number 4, Windy Answer.
She set a world record over this racetrack 2 weeks back, and then, of course, lost that record to Keystone Wallace as she dropped the decision by a head last week. Fame is fleeting.
And driver is Ron Waples, who's driven in just under half of Breeders' Crown events, and he's won 4 of these championships. Number 5 is Dory Lobel.
This filly has won only 2 races in 16 starts, and that is not enough in a field like this. She'll have a very tough time with these.
Lloyd Gilmore from the Gilmore racing family. He has very prosperous brothers, Buddy and George and John, and Lloyd is in the bike tonight. He started training when he was 13 years old. Now let's take a look at Southtown, number 6.
And you're looking at a tough one here, a very tough filly who has won 3 out of 4 of her last starts and won a very tough trip last week and almost got up. This one could be the upsetter in this field.
And Michelle Lachance, who was behind Matt Scooter in that incomprehensible 1:48.2 time trial, is in the bike tonight. Next is number 7, and it's Light Beam.
And she is the lowest money winner in the field. She's only won $38,000. she faces a very, very tough assignment with the quality of filly she's racing here.
And 34-year-old Bill Fay, who's efficient catch driver and an excellent judge of pace with over 2,100 victories, is in the bike this evening. Let's take a look at the final horse in the field, Uptown Swell.
She's won $256,000, was second in the Sweetheart to Concertina earlier in the year, and is a stablemate of Peace Corps, who you saw set a world record here as a 2-year-old filly trotter last week.
And the driver, Bill O'Donnell, has 9 Breeders' Crown championships to his credit, and his mounts have won $3.9 million in Breeders' Crown Series alone. Well, that's the field, but we may need a few clues into picking a winner. Maybe a good way to start would be to start with the eliminations and find out how we got down to our field of 8. Here's Ken and Ellie.
12 fillies were entered for tonight's Breeders' Crown Championship. The field was pared down to the 8 that we will see tonight through 2 eliminations held here at Pompano last Saturday night. In the first elimination, Ellie, a field of 6, but the one everyone was watching was a world record holder.
Windy Answer, a week before this elimination, set the track and world record for 2-year-old pacing fillies. But Keystone Wallace, a gray filly, a filly to watch because she has been ultra consistent and in peak form.
Let's see how they did just a week ago here at Pompano. We pick up the call of track announcer Gary Seibel. Remember, 6 racing for the 4 spots tonight.
3/4 in 127 flat. Around the final turn and heading for home. Windy Answer now digs in at the rail. She'll be put to the test. Here comes Southtown picking them up 3 wide. Uptown Swell still living in between horses. And Keystone Wallace looking to shake free. Windy Answer leading the pack. Southtown trying to get to her. Keystone Wallace looking to slip through the rail. Windy Answer. Here comes Keystone Wallace. They are heads apart in 155 3/5.
Ellie, it certainly doesn't get much more exciting than that in harness racing.
Certainly doesn't. Windy Answer, desperate to hang on to her world record, bears off the rail, and Keystone Wallace slips up the wood and wins by just a head.
Southtown finishing 3rd and Uptown Swell 4th, all 4 qualifying for tonight. Now in the second elimination, again a field of 6, but Ellie, there were 2 that stood out.
Well, Concertina won the Sweetheart Series earlier in the year, which accounts for her over $500,000 in purse earnings. But Central Park West has been on a rampage. She has won everything in sight, and she is just as sharp as ever.
They were looking at those 2 last week here at Pompano, and 2 others trying to get in there as well to qualify for the field tonight. Let's take a look at last week's elimination.
3/4 in 127 4/5. Into the final turn, they've got to catch Central Park West, and John Campbell still with a strong hold on her. Concertina second, Proud at the outside, Light Beam the rail, and Dory Lobel. And as they enter the lane, it's all Central Park West. She pours it on now, and she's still in hand of John Campbell. Concertina is second, and coming on for 3rd, Dory Lobel. Central Park West impressive in victory, 156 flat.
And an impressive victory for Central Park West. John Campbell had her in hand, Ellie.
Central Park West and John Campbell made a move to the lead and just coasted home to an easy victory over the rest. Concertina sat the pocket, but was no match for Central Park West.
Dory Lobel finishing 3rd and Light Beam 4th, and that is the way we arrived at our 8 finalists here tonight for the Breeders' Crown Championship. Dave?
And there's number 1, Central Park West, the prohibitive choice, John Campbell in the bike. Let's take a look at current odds just a few minutes before post time. Central Park West, 1-5. Keystone Wallace is the second choice of the crowd here this evening at 4-1. Then we have a pair of 11-1 shots, Concertina and Windy Answer. Dory Lobel is up to 45-1. Southtown holds at 9-1 with Michelle a chance. Light Beam, 99, and another long shot, Uptown Swell. I love that 70-1 on the outside. Stay with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Pompano Park. There's Michelle Lachance in the red and white talking with Bill O'Donnell in the blue and white. Bill O'Donnell's on with a long shot, Uptown Swell. Southtown, the 6-horse, is trained by Kenny Rice's special guest.
Thank you, Dave. The trainer and also a co-owner, Linda Toscano. And Linda had a claimer at one time called Storm Dust. For $18,000, the purchase won over $130,000, and because of Storm Dust, you and the DeLucias came up with Southtown.
That's right, Kenny. An owner of mine had been watching him for a long time. When he finally dropped to 18 claimers, he said, let's take him. I watched him that night. We took him. He made $130,000 for us, 1 in 56 and 1 on the half-mile track. Because of him, I wound up with his sister, Cloudy Day, who also was a New York Sire Stake winner. She won in 58 and change. So when Southtown came through the ring in the Fall Classic last year, we had no choice except to buy her. And she's done everything plus.
And indeed she has. Coming into tonight's race, Linda, how do you like her chances?
Oh, I don't really think that we could beat Central Park West unless something goes really, really our way and something completely goes against the other filly. But she's been so consistent all year long, I really have high hopes that we'll get a good piece of it.
And in the meantime, you keep looking for more Storm Dust sisters or half-sisters?
Absolutely. If they go through, we have to try again.
All right, good luck tonight, Linda.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Linda Toscano, who is the trainer and one of the owners of Southtown. Dave?
And there's number 6 Southtown with Michelle Lachance on the track warming up over on the backstretch. It is a beautiful night here in southern Florida, and when the snows start to fall, maybe you want to join us down here at Pompano Park. Take a look at the amount of money up for grabs here with these 2-year-old fillies. Over $214,000 to the winner, and you see purse money goes all the way back to 5th. And coming in 5th, well, you get a check for over $21,000. Maybe we should take a look at the post position stand. Now, they'll be starting on the backstretch. That means that they'll be starting from the left side of your screen to the right side to the left side. That rail down there at the bottom of the screen shows that Central Park West is right on the rail. Certainly, that'll help that one.
Well, on a 5/8 mile track like Pompano Park, they start on the backstretch. So you see the gate in the position it'll be moving, and Central Park West down along the rail. The gate comes around and then goes from there. They come around to the home stretch and go around once more. So 5/8 mile track. They're 3/8 of a mile from the start and then 5/8 of a mile around the circumference, and that gives them the full mile.
There's the favorite Central Park West, who has now doubled in the odds, now at 2-5. But if you got the 5, what do you need the 2 for? Central Park West. Let's find out from Ellie Sarama if she is going to go with the favorite or pick one of the long shots. Ellie?
Well, Dave, I think this is going to be a fabulous race to watch. We have a former world record holder, we have the present world record holder, and then we have Central Park West. And my feeling is, watching her in the elimination, John Campbell never put her into 5th gear last week. He didn't use her, he didn't ask her for anything more. I have to go with Central Park West.
Central Park West at the rail, now 2-5. And the second choice in the wagering is number 2, Keystone Wallace. And what about that world record of Keystone Wallace? Might it have taken something out of her?
I don't think it took anything out of her. The filly's very sharp right now, and she's been very consistent, and I think we'll have an interesting race. Central Park West, of course, has been dominant. We'll see if she continues that domination right now.
What about the breeding lines? Is there any dominant strain here with these pacers?
Well, I think the dominant strain that you see is the cross of outcross stallions with daughters of Meadows Skipper. That is the combination that has been producing champions. It's the combination in harness racing that's produced Central Park West and a whole host of them.
And we have 3 big towners, including Uptown Swell, who was second in the Sweetheart in a dramatic come-from-behind almost victory.
And again, that same type of cross that I just mentioned. So it's producing great fillies and great colts as well.
And as you can see, the fillies behind the gate. This race, as we said, begins over on the backstretch. So the folks here finishing up their handicapping, getting the tickets at 30 seconds to post time. What a beautiful sight. What a beautiful evening. A fast track as we get ready for the 9th race on the card here at Pompano. The Breeders' Crown Final for 2-year-old fillies. The purse almost $500,000. And we go now to the top of the stands. And the voice of Pompano Park, here is Gary Seibel for the call of the race. Gary?
There they go, they're off, and pacing from in between horses. Windy Answer set out quickly. Central Park West reserved at the rail. Keystone Wallace now going to settle in 3rd. Concertina looking for a spot 4th, and right there Dory Lobel is taking a seat 5th. Southtown comes away 6th. Light Beam caught on the outside. The early trailer, it is Uptown Swell. And as they race around the first turn, Windy Answer at the rail. Here comes Keystone Wallace the outside. Central Park West right behind him. Opening panel, 28 4/5. And now they come by the stands the first time. Keystone Wallace in charge, but Central Park West fires out of the 3-hole, and those 2 hook up in a speed duel. Central Park West now goes on with it for John Campbell, and she clears. Keystone Wallace now right behind her. 2.5 back, Windy Answer racing 3rd. Then 2 back, Concertina 4th. Dory Lobel on the inside. Southtown is 6th, and a gap of 4 to Uptown Swell and Light Beam. the half in 56 seconds flat. That second quarter, 27-1. They blistered the first half, and it's Central Park West by a length. And now driving up on the outside to take her shot is Concertina at the rail. Keystone Wallace third. Southtown right there fourth on the rim. Windy Answer fifth, followed by Dore Lobel, Light Beam, and Uptown Swell. Heading for the final turn, it is Central Park West leading the pack 3/4 of a mile in 1:25 3/5. And as they head for home, Central Park West now puts it in another gear. She skips off by 4. They'll have trouble getting to her tonight. Keystone Wallace second. Windy Answer swings off the rail. But in the lane, it's the true champion in the 2-year-old Philly pacing ranks. It's Central Park West all by herself. Now by 7-8 lengths. Coming out of his second, Windy Answer. Central Park West in 1:53 Impressive in victory, taking the Breeders' Crown, 2-year-old Philly pace.
1:53 John Campbell said he wasn't going to take her to the lead. He took her to the lead on the first turn, on the around the clubhouse turn here, and never looked back.
Well, last week you saw Peace Corps with Campbell break the world record by 2 full seconds, and you see the identical thing tonight. 2 full seconds off the world record, which was set here last week by Keystone Wallace in 1:55 Again, you're talking about 10 lengths, and you saw the 10 lengths here as this great filly won.
And let's watch this walk in the park, this Central Park walk by Central Park West, the big towner filly who just never looked back.
You mentioned the breeding cross, and it was on all 3 of the big towner fillies, Central Park West and Southtown and Uptown Swell. Meadow Skipper Blood on their dam side. And here you see Campbell. You see where his whip is, Dave?
It is put away. But Ellie said that this horse never got into 5th gear last week. Look at this world record performance, and it looks like she could do even better.
Well, it's a good 10 lengths right there, Dave. 8 to 10 lengths, and there's 5 lengths to a second. She broke the world record of Keystone Wallace's by 2 seconds, so that's 10 lengths, and she showed it.
At this point, do you see any colt as good as this filly in the 2-year-old range?
No, and the ironic thing is that the 2 best fillies this year, this one, Central Park West, and LD's Trish, I think are better than the 2-year-old pacing colts.
This just goes to show you what kind of action we have in store for you. Don't go away. We'll be back with all the action, the color, and the excitement from Pompano after this timeout. In a shattering performance, Central Park West knocked 2 full seconds off the world record, which was set here at Pompano last week.
Bruce Nichols, the trainer of this great filly, joins the winner's circle procession.
And now let's go down to Ellie Sarama.
With me now, the winning driver, John Campbell. John, a fabulous performance by this filly. Last week in the elimination, I felt you didn't use her at all, but tonight you shattered the world's record by 2 seconds, and it looked like you didn't use her again.
Well, I had to use her pretty hard to get back to the front, Ellie. We were really pacing in front of the grandstand. Once I got crossed over and got a little breather down the backstretch, she paced home in 28 seconds on her own. I just spoke to her and just let her cruise home, and believe it or not, she could have gone a little more.
Well, let's take a look at the replay in the stretch right here. Here you're off on your own by maybe 8 or 10 lengths, and she looks like she's just cruising. Were you confident at this point, I would imagine?
Yeah, I was pretty confident once she made the front. She's you know, an ultra game filly, and like you said last week, she really felt strong, and we didn't have to use her that hard. And it was just sitting there and letting her pace. She just cruised to the wire, and she came 28 seconds.
She's an incredible filly. Unbelievable performance by Central Park West and John Campbell. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And now back to Dave.
And Central Park West is being led into the winner's circle in the infield so that the big crowd here can take a good look at the presentation of the trophy. Let's take a look at the prices. It is official as we speak, well, it wasn't too much money, but Central Park West won like a good thing, paying $280, $260, and $240. Windy Answer was second in the contest, paying $480 and $320. Uptown Swell, $5.20 to show. And William Vessels, Director of Parimutuel Wagering for the state of Florida, former Heisman Trophy winner, and State Senator Gwen Margulis making the trophy presentation. We'll be back after this. Central Park West has won the Breeders' Crown Final for 2-year-old fillies, just 3/5 of a second off the all-age record and a world record for 2-year-old pacing fillies. And there they go, top to bottom. Central Park West, Windy Answer was second, Uptown Swell was third, Southtown followed by Keystone Wallace, Concertina, Dory, Lobel, and Light Beam was 8th and last. Here's Kenny Rice.
With me, Susan Laden and Bill Peretti, and congratulations. I don't know what else you can ask of her except what she turned in tonight, Susan.
Oh, she's a fabulous filly, a real world champ.
Do you have any idea how good she can be, Bill? Do you allow yourself to speculate already for 3-year-old season?
Well, I think she's going to be a top 3-year-old, too.
No doubt about what she has done tonight and what you feel she's already accomplished for the 2-year-old season.
Oh, she's had a fabulous year this year. I mean, now she's got her 53-4 mark on the 5/8 track. I mean,
53 and 3, Susie.
53 and 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're excited.
Okay.
You can go celebrate and have the picture now.
Yeah, we're very happy.
Okay, congratulations
Okay,
and
thank
good
you.
luck. Thank you, Susan Layden and also Bill Peretti, two of the owners of Central Park West. What a performance she turned in tonight.